So this is the first step in the process of fixing your swing here. So what we were really doing is we were staying in what's called front bend throughout our whole golf swing. So we were bent over like this, and then as we turned, we stayed in that front bend with no extension. So from a face-down position, this is what it looked like. It went like this, and then you just kind of turned back like this. And then also we added to it a little bit of hip movement to your right side. So you had a little bit of hip movement and then stayed in front bend. What that does is when you get up to the top, it makes your arms get really stuck behind you, your right elbow mostly. So when your right elbow gets too far behind you like this, the club's gonna get too far up in the air and across. And when your club gets too far, when your elbow gets too far behind you and your club gets too far up and down, on the way down, you're gonna have to fix it somehow. So you're gonna come up out of it, your club's gonna drop too far underneath, and you're gonna miss with a lot of blocks and hooks. So instead of staying in front bend in your golf swing, okay, so instead of turning your chest like this, we're actually gonna add some extension. The extension's a weird little piece. So what it feels like your left shoulder is almost going this way while your hip is going this way. So it's gonna feel like you're moving this, shoulder this way, and it really feels like your lower back is extending as you move up to the top. So what that does immediately it doesn't allow your hands to get so far deep. It doesn't allow your right arm to get so internal in the backswing, and so it forces that issue just a little bit at the start. So it's a good help. Step number 2, after we learned some of the extension, and you even said it, you said, hey, this really starts to help where my arms are at the top, like I can feel it when I do that. So extension is really number 1. And then number 2 is we have this little stick, which I'll take a couple videos with you putting a stick on. But the stick makes you feel like that right elbow is staying lower than the left. So at the top, it's gonna look like this instead of like this, okay? So it's gonna allow you to keep that right elbow more of an external rotation position as opposed to getting internal and behind your body. So that's the next step, is get that right elbow working like this, club sets at the top, so then we never get stuck too far underneath on the way down. Step 3 in your swing, which we didn't even touch, which step 1 and 2 are good building blocks for step 3. Step 3 would be your hip movement. And so let me talk through that real quick. So hips move 3 dimensions. They move forward, they move around, and they move up. So what happens in your golf swing is it has to be timed appropriately. So the first thing that happens is when you get up to the top, your hips move laterally. So your hips move laterally about when your hands get to about there, they're done moving laterally. So if you see anything past here, then we usually have issues with your swing. So laterally, rotationally, and then vertically. And what was happening with your swing is you were never getting the rotational component of it. And so by the time you got to the vertical, it was kind of a jumbled mess at the bottom. And now a lot of that was because you couldn't rotate, because if you rotated with the club right here, it would be kind of garbage to the ball. And so your body was smart enough to say, hey, I'm not gonna do that, so I'm gonna hold off the rotation as long as I can. And so what I really want you to feel, and this is, like I said, this is step 3, so this might not even be until a month or maybe a winter thing, But when we swing up to the top, what I want you to feel is this knee turning, or this hip turning externally, which is going to force this knee pointing towards the target. So it's going to look a little bit like this at the start. Now, that's not actually what's going to happen, because you're still going to move laterally, but it's going to look something like this into the ball, and then through the ball. Because of that, you're going to be able to explode and rotate through the shot. You're going to get a lot more speed that way and accuracy.